All the betting trends you need to know from the world of footy. This is the Snapshot.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Snapshot. I'm Ryan Cook. Joining me like he does every single week is my main man Tom Rockliff. Tommy, big weekend of footy. I see you've been hitting the gym though, mate. You've been keeping busy.
Trying to catch up to you. So Lynchy got us out of bed early this morning. He's got a flight to catch. So had to go at 4 a.m.
Anything for Lynchy. He runs
Everything
this joint.
for Lynchy. Lynchy's the man. We'll do anything for him.
He is. All right, let's rewind right back to Thursday night. Richmond's 13-point win over Carlton. I'm sure you've just spent the last hour talking about it on the podcast, but I want to talk about it a little bit more from a betting perspective. Tigers paying $10.50, maybe around $11, depending where you looked. I want to see where you think this might rank, though, among the top 10 biggest betting upsets. Do you think it makes the top 10?
I think it'd have to sneak in there. 2-horse race and you're getting, $10.50. It'd have to be in there. I reckon you mentioned it off air last week. I reckon you said Richmond a chance. I said no. I was wrong.
Always back against us. That's how we should start telling the punters. Sometimes we're just way off. The biggest upset in terms of a betting perspective was West Coast defeating the Western Bulldogs 92-85, round 23, 2023, $14.71.
That's crazy. $14 for a 2-horse race.
Yeah, you don't see that very often. Can you guess the team that features the most in the top 10?
Like maybe the Suns?
Yeah?
As a guess.
It's a good guess. 3 times.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it is the Suns.
I was just going to say, because we spoke about it before, your worst losses. They beat Brisbane in their first Q clash, so I'd imagine they might have surprised a couple of teams early days.
They certainly have. $11.50 for West Coast this week in Brisbane. Could you even entertain the idea of the Eagles getting up at the Gabba?
Well, you couldn't entertain it last week, could you? You couldn't entertain Richmond beating Carlton, and halfway through the second, you're like, it's all over. No, I could not entertain it, and I think you'd be donating your money if you did, but that's my opinion. I could be completely wrong. West Coast to come over here and beat Brisbane on their home deck, unveiling the flag. 0.5% chance to happen.
Yeah, no, West Coast looked absolutely atrocious
horrible.
last week. Yeah, that's like a 3-4 year rebuild still in the making. It's it's pretty grim. Let's talk about the rising star. We've had some key movements in the betting there. Sam Layla, how are you saying it?
Layla, isn't it?
Layla? Yeah, I've heard conflicting reports.
Nah, it might be Lawler. Lawler. He's a Benalla boy. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Well, he's got connections to Benalla.
I have read that, yeah. Okay. Into $3.80 favouritism. 18 touches, 2 goals on debut. Very clean and composed for a debutant. Looked like he wasn't shying away from the moment. Is this bloke the next Dusty?
Well, he plays like him in the fact that he impacts the contest around the footy and then can drift forward. So I don't think we can put that pressure on him. I mean, that's a generational player, Dustin Martin, 3 Norm Smith. So, I mean, he's going to be a superstar. I think we can all say that. He plays in a similar vein to Dusty, but if he gets to half as good as Dusty, they've done well, haven't they?
They have, and I'm sure we'll be talking about him in our Brownlow segments for years to come. Levi Ashcroft also into $4, 25 touches, 6 score involvements. Is he still your pick to win this?
I think so. I think as the year goes on, Levi's going to be more consistent. He just finds the footy. You don't notice him out there, but he links up really well, which is a good sign for a young player coming in. Sometimes they can get caught trying to do too much or make mistakes. He doesn't make mistakes. He's one touch. He's clean. He's efficient with what he does. So I think consistently over a 23, 24-week period, if he plays, say, 20 games, he's going to be hard to beat, where I think Lawler will get attention. He's going to get attention when he drifts forward. He may end up getting their best small defender, so it's going to be harder for him to impact the games. Not to say that he won't do that. He's a really good player, but I think Ashcroft's probably got his nose in front.
Wouldn't want to be Fags trying to get Ashcroft in the side over the next 6 months or so.
Well, that's
it's
the
going to be
thing.
tough.
Yeah, like the thing is, he was sub on the weekend. Who does he push out? Like Lockie Neal? No.
Yeah.
Dunkley? No. McCluggage? No. Berry? Like, he's going to have to play half forward. Charlie Campton comes back in. It's like, well, where do we fit him in? I think he definitely plays this week and continues to play. And if he just continues to play his role, he might push his brother out.
Yeah.
How stupid would that be?
Imagine that. That would be a story, yeah. Good problem to have there if you're a Brisbane fan. Let's talk about the early blowout. So we had the Cats, the Pies, the Crows and the Suns all winning by 5+ goals last week. This has sort of become a trend even in rugby league the last couple of weeks, these really early blowouts, but it's good from a punting perspective because you can just jump on the over and feel pretty good about it. Port versus Richmond on Saturday, the line 172.5. Are you pretty confident taking Port to bounce back here and the over?
Yeah, I think so. I think if they lose that, dear me, but I think they'll come out fired up. The pressure's going to be on them all week. They'll respond really well. A young Richmond team. Off a win, you can often be excited and they should live in the moment. You don't know how many wins they're going to have this year and unexpected wins like that. So I think Port Adelaide will come out and send a message this weekend and they'll score heavily.
I know it was like the biggest round one blowout for Port since I think 2000. That was the stat. Is that the most disappointing you've seen Port Adelaide?
It was, because you speak about a Collingwood team that looked not underdone the week before, but didn't look at their absolute best against the Giants, looked fatigued. Port Adelaide, fresh, should be raring to go and didn't fire a shot. I think it's Ken's worst loss ever in his 13 years as senior coach, the biggest margin. So didn't see that one coming. No,
it was a shocker. Let's look ahead, though, to Sunday afternoon. You tell me if I'm dead wrong here, but I think the game of the week is Sunday afternoon, the last game of the round. Fremantle taking on Swans. Just in terms of what's at stake here, Freo was so disappointing in that final term against the Cats last week, allowing 10 goals. Swans are zipping 2. This is like a must-win game, and the odds reflect that. Fremantle $1.70, the Swans $2.15. Let's play a bit of doomsday scenario. Who should be more afraid of a loss here?
I think Fremantle. I think Sydney have taken on 2 reasonable teams in their first 2 games, and they've been competitive in both and had opportunities to win both. Sydney find a way to make finals. They find a way to continue to improve. Fremantle, the expectation on them is that they're going to rise this year. A lot of people had them top 4, potentially playing off. If they get touched up with what we've seen through the summer, their game against the Indigenous All-Stars, they were blown away. They were horrible. Then they were horrible again on the weekend. Like, besides a 10-minute patch from an 18-year-old, they didn't look like scoring.
Nah,
so I don't know how they bounce back. And if Sydney go over there and roll them, where to for the Dockers? They potentially miss finals and think they were going to be a top 4 team.
Yeah, it is scary. 65 turnovers last week and only 8 marks inside 50. That is like glaring concerns. I rewind to last year. I have a feeling that you said Longmire would be the first coach sacked. Are you sticking by that this season?
Well, he's gone on to a full-time contract, so I think potentially. We know that Ken's not going to be there. The other coaches that are under the pump, there's not really any of them now, because you've got Nixie, who they played really well. If something happens to the Crows, obviously Ross Lyons locked away. All those rebuilding teams we know, I don't think they're going to get rid of Alistair Clarkson at North Melbourne. I think he's probably the one in the gun. And Luke Beveridge, if something...
Bevo's always on the scene forever and ever.
Yeah, but he's won the flag. So, I mean, I think JL may be in trouble.
No, I tend to agree with you there. Speaking of trouble, the multi last week, we got off to a pretty good start.
I went safe, so you put value in it. So I think we both put our hands up and say, I went really safe. You went to get a bit of value about it.
Yep.
But we've got our players markets this week. We've been recording on Monday. Now we're recording
we're back,
on Tuesday.
Baby. We're back.
We are back.
To recap last week, you took the Dogs to win. That got up. Giants to cover. Unlucky. I had Adelaide.
I thought I won both my legs there,
Yeah. I only won by 3, and I think the line was 5.5. I had the Crows 1-39. I think you did say to me they could blow that out, and they did. And then West Coast to win. Never again. This week, you are sticking with the player markets. Hit me with your best.
Hit me with your best. Levi Ashcroft, I think he'll play a full game again. West Coast, who have no defence whatsoever. Their midfielders are all out attackers. Ashcroft's not going to get any attention whatsoever. I think 25 is a good mark for him. So Levi Ashcroft, 25 plus at $2.30, and a bit of juice. North Melbourne versus Melbourne. I think Sheasel will get off the chain. I'm going to take him plus 35 plus at 3. So I'm going to do the value this week. I don't know what you've gone, but we could be having a 100-1 multi here.
I like the Sheasel bet because we saw Callaghan and Green rack up the disposals last week against Melbourne, so that's a good play. I'm taking Collingwood to cover -7.5 against the Dogs on Friday night. I just have question marks over the Dogs still. I think Collingwood could really expose their inability to move the ball, as has been the case with the Bulldogs for the last couple of seasons. And then I like the Crows to win, paying about $1.70 against the Bombers. This is on the road, so we know Adelaide are a risky bet on the road when they whack on the white shorts, but I liked a lot what I saw about them last week. They looked very strong up forward, so I'm believing in the Crom.
I'm a believer as well. I think I'm a believer in this multi as well. I'm very confident. I'm nearly going to line up. If I was at a venue, I'd be lining up.
You lining up?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, the odds: Levi Ashcroft 25 plus, the Cheese 35 plus, Collingwood to cover, the Crows to win $21.89.
Ooh, plenty of juice for round 2 of the season. That we get this up, that covers our season.
We're done. We might just stop after that. Best of luck, Rocky. Have a good week.
Ryan.
Thanks for listening to Neds AFL Unpopular Opinions. Enjoyed the podcasts? Remember to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.